Hi everyone, I'm Wendy, back with another What I Eat in a Day video where I show you little snippets of my routine and of course, what I'm eating throughout the day. Like I often do, I started my day off with a little bit of yoga. It's that time of year where it's still dark in the morning before I have to go to work, so I haven't been keeping up with my morning walks. Instead, I start off with my yoga and then I'll get my breakfast ready. If I can, I'll still try to fit a walk in today, maybe on my afternoon break from work. My breakfast is pretty much always the same. I start off with a smoothie. Today I'm using some dinosaur kale that I got yesterday in my CSA. I prefer to use baby greens in my smoothies because it has a little sweeter flavor, but this local kale is really delicious as well. I also had a couple pieces of celery that were a little past their prime, so I went ahead and threw those in, along with about half of a frozen banana and some frozen mango. I just bought this mango a week or two ago, but it was really freezer burnt and all stuck together in a clump, so I had to break it apart before I added that in. Then today I'm adding some freshly grated ginger. I keep ginger in my freezer and it makes it really easy to grate, and you always have it on hand for whatever recipes you want to use it in. And finally, I don't normally add plant-based milks to my smoothies, but I happen to have some of this almond milk that I was using for a recipe, so I'm adding a little bit of that along with water to blend my smoothie. And then as always, I have my steel-cut oats with blueberries. I'll warm that up in the microwave and top it off with some ground flax seeds. And after breakfast was ready, I popped a load of laundry into the washer before I got to work. I work from home, which is really great for me because I love not having to deal with the traffic, and I'm also very introverted, so I love to be at home all day. Yesterday, I had to leave work a little bit early, so this morning I'm wading through some extra emails, but it really wasn't too bad. So I'll continue working for a few hours and then I'll let you know what I'm having for lunch. For lunch, I decided to try one of these new stews from Well Your World. When I'm working, I need something quick for lunch, and these literally take 5 seconds to throw in the Instant Pot and press start. I've been using Well Your World products for years and I love that they're SOS free. I try to always avoid refined sugar and oil, and I limit my sodium intake. So I love that these products are SOS free because then you can control the amounts if you decide to add any of those ingredients. The other day I got my latest Well Your World haul. I was restocking on some of my favorites and also wanted to try out these new soups. So far I tried the cauliflower chowder, which was pretty good, and today I'm trying this black bean and rice stew. And here are some of my other favorite products. I got a couple of their spice blends, Stardust and Zesty. My mom loves using these spice blends in her balsamic vinaigrette because she can use a different blend each time and get a different flavor profile. Some of our other favorite blends are the Galaxy Dust, Lemon Pepper Pizzazz, Calypso, and the Fiesta blend. We also just recently showed you how we use the Italian dressing. Check out my Thanksgiving meal prep video to see that in action. They also have ketchup, barbecue sauce, sriracha, and other sauces. It's been a while since I tried the barbecue sauce. Last time I was not a big fan, but I decided to give it another try. And two of our other favorite ingredients are the pizza sauce and the nutritional yeast. We use the pizza sauce all the time, either to make pizza or my mom's pizza casserole. And I'm pretty sensitive to nutritional yeast, so I don't use it very often, but this one doesn't seem to bother me so much. This one is non-fortified, and it's usually the fortified nutritional yeast that give me trouble. So if you also have ever had digestive issues after having regular fortified nutritional yeast, you might want to give this one a try. And I'm not trying to turn this into a Well Your World infomercial, but their products really are great for helping you to stick with a healthy, whole food, plant-based diet. So if you use my link in the details below the video, I may earn a small commission, but I would never recommend products that I don't actually use myself, and if you've been following me for a while, you know that I've been using these for years. So as soon as this black bean and rice stew is ready, I'm going to give it a try, and I'm also having a side salad along with that. I prepared this salad last night so I could just grab it out of the fridge and get back to work quickly. I just use whatever veggies I have on hand. Today I had some really nice lettuce from my local CSA. We also got some green onions, so I threw those in, along with some carrots, celery, cabbage, and red onion. And then I'm adding some salad dressing that I made. This is basically very similar to my mom's balsamic vinaigrette that I mentioned earlier, but I don't ever measure everything exactly, I just eyeball it. It has some balsamic vinegar, lemon juice, water, stone ground mustard, a little bit of date sugar, and then like I said, we usually throw in some spices. Today I used the Galaxy Dust. And back to this stew, it's done cooking now and it smells pretty good, so let's open it up and see how it looks. My only complaint about these is it's really not all that much food. The nutrition label says that it's 4 servings, although on the back of the box they say it makes about 2 bowls. The first one that I tried the other day was really only about 1.5 servings for me, but I also tend to eat a pretty large volume of food. So for someone else it might make 2 or 3 servings. So for me personally, this probably isn't a product that I would buy on a regular basis, but I would definitely use it for travel. If I was in a hotel and couldn't cook, you could bring your Instant Pot, and especially since this is a dried product, it's really lightweight, so you could bring several of these and make it right there in your hotel room. So I filled up my bowl and have just a little scoop left, and I'm adding some pumpkin seeds to my salad to eat along with it. I decided to go back for seconds and I grabbed the last little scoop here that I'm gonna finish up. This has a really great flavor and it has a nice kind of chewy texture that I actually really like. So I'm gonna go finish this up and get back to work, and then I'll check back in with you later. After a couple more hours of work, I took my 15-minute break and I switched my laundry from the washer to the dryer and then went outside for a short walk. I've always loved cloudy days, and fall and winter are my favorite seasons. I ended up taking about a 10-minute walk before heading back to work, and then after work it was time to throw together a quick dinner. Last night I chopped some veggies. I have some onions, peppers, and zucchini, and I'm gonna have that along with some lentils, sorghum, and then I have these delicata squash, which I also got yesterday in my CSA. We simply cut them in half, took the seeds out, and then roasted them until they were nice and caramelized. So I'm starting by sauteing the onions, and it's really easy to cook them oil-free. Instead of adding oil to the pan, you simply preheat it and throw the onions in. I don't even add any water to begin with. I like to let the onions cook for a little bit to caramelize, and then I'll add some water later to deglaze the pan. Next, I'm adding the lentils to a little pot. Even though dried lentils are really quick to cook, I also like to keep canned lentils on hand because they're even faster. And tonight, this meal should take me only about 5 minutes, so I just want to heat these up, and I'm using a little bit of that Well Your World barbecue sauce that I mentioned earlier. I'll simply pour some of that on, stir it up and put the lid on and let it heat through. Then I'm adding the peppers and zucchini to the pan with the onions and putting the lid on to let it steam for a couple of minutes. After a few minutes, the lentils were ready to go, so I went ahead and turned the heat off, and to the veggies, I'm simply flavoring it with a little balsamic vinegar. I'm not even adding any seasonings because I like to keep it simple, and the veggies along with the balsamic vinegar is really delicious. Meanwhile, I also scraped out the flesh from the squash and I heated that up with the sorghum. And I'll add the lentils and veggies and my dinner is all ready. Because I prepped the veggies the night before, I was able to get this meal on the table in under 10 minutes. And I think it turned out to be a really beautiful dish. All the flavors really complemented each other as well. The barbecued lentils had a nice tang. The balsamic veggies also had a little bit of tang, and they were both sweet and savory. And this delicata squash was so super sweet, it was almost like a dessert. And the sorghum was a great way to tie everything together. Each component was delicious on its own, but everything was also delicious combined together. Along with that, I had one of my favorite treats, a date with a Brazil nut. I simply take the pit out of the date and replace it with a Brazil nut. After this really satisfying meal, I cleaned up the kitchen and I went to fold that laundry that I washed earlier. And after that, I wanted to do some kind of physical activity, more for my mental health than anything. Work was really stressful today, so I'm feeling a little anxious and frazzled, so I wanted to get some kind of movement in, but nothing that was too intense. I decided to follow a gentle Pilates video, and I'll put a link for the one that I used below. After this, I'll try to chill out for the rest of the evening and maybe read a book before bed. As always, I want to thank you for hanging out with me today. If you enjoyed this video, hit the thumbs up, and I hope to see you next time.